Hi everyone, Jane here. Thank you so much for watching today and welcome to one and all. Today I decided to get out a sort of medium that I have not played with for quite a while. I have the first 3 sets of the Distress watercolour pencils. Now these were brought out probably a couple of years ago. And there are more sets since these ones that I've got, but I've just got the first 3. So these are sort of like the main Distress colours, and they are a woodless pencil, as in it's pure pigment, and it has like I think it's like a plasticky papery wrap around it, which just to help protect your fingers. And they can be used as normal pencils or they can be used as watercolour pencils. So I have this Lightwish swatch book. I sort of gave in recently. I hadn't sort of gone into the thing of doing swatch books. I tend to just swatch things out myself, but I found that what I was doing was swatching out on to random pieces of card and paper, and I was ending up putting them in all different places, and most of the time when they would have actually been useful, I couldn't find them. So I decided to invest in an actual swatch book. I'm not sure if this is a cold press or hot press. It says on the front it's suitable for all different sorts of mediums, which is why I picked it. I've already done 1 page on the first page, and it does have this like glassine in between, but I've found that it just keeps getting crumpled and ripped and is very annoying. And because the things I'm using aren't really going to be rubbing off, and if they are, they're rubbing off onto the back of another page and not rubbing off onto a piece of artwork, I decided to just take them sort of out of the book. So I lined all of my pencils up from, I was going to say from the lightest to the darkest, not at all, it wasn't that. I did them in colour groups to an extent, so we've got the yellows and then the oranges and the reds, pinks, blues, greens, no sorry, I had purples in between there, purples, blues, greens, and then the earth tones and the neutrals. And the first box also I coloured with some black paint pen because that was the white pencil. And I started off just by scribbling down each of the pencils into their boxes. Now I wrote the names underneath. I'm not going to go through the names as I do them because I'm sure that you'll probably be able to zoom in maybe, or at the end I do put a picture at the end as well so you can see what the colours were. And I just then go in with a wet paintbrush to just get some of that pigment to water out. I decided I wanted to leave a part of the pigment just as a normal pencil, just so I could still see the difference that you get between the 2 different ways of using the pencils. So I'm making sure I'm cleaning my brush properly in between and then just watering them out. Now, whenever I'm making a project, well, or a video, I should say, where I'm doing swatching or showing you a particular medium or product, I do like to create a project with it as well, because I think it's nice to not just see the colours swatched, but to see them actually used in reality. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do, so I sort of went for this it wasn't really, well, it is sort of abstract, but I went with some hexagons just for a change. I was going to grid off my page into squares, and then I thought, no, let's do something a little bit different. So I'm using this Hexagon stencil in the Canson art book. This is the one with the Saunders Waterford paper, which is one of my favourites. I mention it quite a lot. And I drew around with pencil, and then what I did was, rather than then draw around the stencil with the pen, I decided to freehand the lines of the hexagons, because I just felt like I wanted something a little bit more organic. And then I am just using colour groups within each of the hexagons. So in the first one, I'm starting off with the yellows and the oranges. So I'm going to try to remember what we've got. We've probably got mustard seed, wild honey, fossilized amber, and spiced marmalade, I think, were the colours in this. Now, if you are somebody who really follows Tim Holtz's colour range, then these names will be very familiar to you. And it is, if you are wanting pencils that really match in with your inks and your sprays and your spritzes and everything else you may have bought from within the distress range, then these would make a lot of sense. I think they are fine. They work like a watercolour pencil. I have to say, I find some of the colours quite wishy-washy and either take a lot to get some colour from them, or, you know, it may be that they are meant to be very, very pale. This paper is quite textured. It is a cold pressed paper. So when I was trying to get a lot of coverage down by using the side of the pencil. So there will be some marks left in it. It's not going to water out perfectly. I would say that if you're somebody who is really into your watercolour pencils, and you are really interested in things like the light fastness and the pigments, then there are probably other brands that would give you more of that sort of feel and vibe and information. The information was the word I was looking for there, not vibe. But if you are somebody who is just wanting these for because you love the colour range that Tim Holtz brings out, then these are fine. You know, just they do what they say on the tin. So I was going in, like I say, with the colour family. So we went with the pinks. I think there's a bit of probably kitsch, flamingo, picked raspberry. Is bound to be picked raspberry. and I'm not sure. Oh, tattered rose, I think, were the three pinks. The reds were, it may have been candied apple, I'm not sure. A bit of fired brick for a bit of darkness in there, and crackling campfire, which it's like a very, very red orange, I would describe it as. The blues, I think, are something like salty ocean, peacock feathers. I would have to have peacock feathers in it. Is my favourite distress colour. Possibly a bit of faded jeans and prize ribbon potentially. The greens, I think, are twisted citron and peeled paint, and possibly bundled sage or crushed olive, something along those lines. If you know the distress range, you will know all these colour names. And then we got the purples were seedless preserves, villainous potion, and shaded lilac. And then the browns were vintage photo, frayed burlap, walnut stain, and rusty hinge. Now, once that had dried, I wanted to go in with a bit more texture and deeper tone. So I'm going back in with some of the same colour families and just scribbling on. Again, using the side of the pencil. I'd have to say this I did really enjoy. I enjoyed using the side of the pencil to put down a lot of colour, and then I'm going in with some lines. So you can colour in images with these pencils as well. You could either, if you've got one of like the Caran d'Ache aquarelle, like it looks like a chopping board, and you scribble a bit down, you can lift the colour. So you can use them like that. You can take your brush and you can take from the actual pencil, because there's no wood in these pencils. They're perfectly fine to dip in your water if you want to dip them in your water. You know, they are very versatile in that respect. So I just wanted to get some of that darker colour down. And then I felt some interest in the background, so I'm going in with this stamp set that I designed called Make a Mark, and I wanted to show how the distress range will work together. So these are Archival inks, but they are in the distress colours. They don't match exactly what was in the project because I haven't got the exact same colour matches, but I matched it to the best of my ability and just added on all the different colours in the same stamp, and then I go over with a bit more stamping just to bring it together a bit more. This was definitely one of them occasions where I wasn't sure exactly what I was creating in the background here. And after I'd added in that pen work, I thought that it did have a really funky Dylusions vibe going on with it. So it sort of reminded me a lot of Diane Reevely's kind of stamps and work. So I decided to go around with some zigzags to make it look more like a patchwork in the background, with some polka dots. And then I grabbed some of this collage. This is from the Dylusions collage sheets. Again, they are ones I've had for years. I will list what I've used in the description box, but to be totally honest, a lot of what I have had a long time. It's possibly not available. I wouldn't know where you get it from anymore. And I'm at the moment having a massive declutter and destash. So I will be using lots and lots more of stuff that I want to just get out and use now. So I won't be worrying about whether it's currently available. But do please always just use what you have. Use something similar or not similar at all if you don't want it to be similar. And I've added on also one of the Dylusions bigger backchat sentiments because they are always fun. So what to say, I don't want to do things suck. Sometimes that is just how you feel. So thank you ever so much. Thank you also to these people, my lovely super supporters who are my YouTube members. And if you have enjoyed this video, do please give it a thumbs up, hype if you can. And if you haven't already subscribed, I'd love it if you could subscribe as well. And until the next time, bye bye.